Sonoma County Transportation Authority.
Sorry about that.
Oh, I snuck up on you. We will start with introductions, which as per usual, I will just kind of read through. And if I miss your name or mispronounce or don't know where you're from, then please chime in. From SCTA, we have Drew Nichols, Dana Teray, Shauna Gauze, and James Cameron. From Cloverdale, Eric Jansen. From Sonoma County, Hunter McLaughlin. From Sonoma County Parks, Elizabeth Tyree. And I missed Chris Barney from SCTA. Ida Takati from Roner Park. Kristen Figpen from Vision Zero. Craig Scott from Katati. Tony Bernalero from Sebastopol and GHD. And Nancy Adams from Santa Rosa. Joanne Parker from SMART. And Ken Eichstad eating a burrito in Petaluma. The one I don't recognize, David, if you'd like to introduce yourself to the crowd.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm David Ripper. I'm the new Assistant Director of Projects and Programming at SCTA.
Oh, nice to meet you, David. I'm not seeing anyone from the public, so no public comment. Next on the agenda is the approval of meeting minutes from August 26th. Does anyone have anything to add or amend? Seeing none, can I get a motion?
Craig Scott, City of Katati, move to approve.
Second, Nancy.
Okay.
With the mask on. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you just fine.
Excellent. Thank you.
So that passes unanimously since I'm not seeing any objections. Onward to item number 4, SB 743 travel update. 4.1, the VMT calculator. Chris.
Yeah, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I'll just provide a really quick update on the SB 743 activities and VMD mitigation calculator progress. So we were able to take the scope and budget and contribution plan to the SCTA board earlier this month, and that was approved. So we're now doing some initial meetings with Fair and Peers on the project. Julie Morgan and Kevin Johnson at Fair and Peers are going to be heading up that project if you are familiar with either of them. So right now we're looking at doing a kickoff meeting in December, right after the December TAC meeting at 3 p.m. and plan on inviting the Planning Advisory Committee to that meeting as well. So at that meeting, we'll have Fair and Peers here to talk about the project and get feedback from everyone on the VMT mitigation calculator. So please go ahead and hold that time if you're able, 3 o'clock, December 2nd. On the billings and local contributions, so working on getting those ready to go, so we'll get those out soon as well. And just to note that the project covers this and next fiscal years as well, so there's opportunity to make those contributions in next fiscal year. So with that, be happy to answer any questions.
Feel free to unmute and jump in, anyone.
So, will we see a separate invoice, an invoice that's separate from our regular, whatever we get?
That's right. Yeah. So Edie, I'll give you a call later today or early next week, just to make sure what would work best. So we have a list of primary contacts on SB 743. So we don't have a primary contact for Roner Park right now. So I'll shoot you an email and maybe we can iron that out. Thanks.
Good. Thank you.
Okay.
Chris, thank you for doing this work. Is there anything that I could share with our planning group? Because we're going through it in Petaluma here, going through, VMT exercises and actually are bringing on Fair and Peers for some other work. Is there, and maybe I've missed it, maybe it's been already kind of distributed to the group, but if you had any information I could provide them on it, that'd be appreciated. Thank you.
Sure thing. And I would just mention that Olivia over on the planning side's keyed in, and I sent some information over last week. So yeah,
thank you
so we
for
should be
helping
good.
us organize ourselves.
Yeah, got it. But yeah, let me know if you want any specific information. If you look at the last TAC agenda pack, there's information in there as well.
Okay, thank you. No, I rely on her. Thanks very much.
Yep.
Sorry, I can't mute again. No other questions, Chris? You want to go into the implementation survey?
I don't know if that was on this agenda, but we did actually do an implementation survey last month, and the results of that are actually attached to last month's TAC agenda pack. So yeah, if there's interest in that, I can go ahead and send that out to anyone that's interested. But yeah, I'd encourage you to take a look at the results of that in the last TAC agenda packet.
Well, thank you for that. And yes, I am looking at the wrong agenda. So that'll make the meeting hard. Drew, could you resend the current agenda pack? I'm not sure why I don't have it in front of me.
I can share my screen in the meantime.
Oh, never mind. I have it.
Okay.
Just flowing now, isn't it? Item number 5, Vision Zero Working Group update. Kristen.
Hi, everyone. Good to be here. We are happily moving forward with the survey, the Vision Zero. It's a map-based survey. I think most of you are familiar with it. MIG is our contractor working on the outreach and engagement aspect of the action plan, and we're having some good results. Would love to have a deeper dive into North County, and thank you, Eric, for sending some specifics for the Cloverdale area. But still looking for promotion for the next week or so. We are able to move some of our digital ads, et cetera, to target some of the underserved populations that we're trying to reach most desperately. No matter how much we try, it's a struggle. And so I'll put in the chat the surveys in Spanish and English in case anyone can use that. Share it with your friends, neighbors, and your networks if you can, if you haven't already. That'll be open probably, I'm not sure when exactly we're closing it down, probably somewhere around the 7th of November. And the data that comes in is able to be analyzed almost instantaneously, if so we're catching and adjusting as needed, which is really great. The action plan and communications plan will be at the next VSAC meeting. We are going to be canceling the November meeting and moving to December to allow some additional resources to come on board. So that will be very helpful to getting this across the finish line by the end of the grant, which is February. So anyone who has the November meeting on their calendar, please note that it is canceled, and December 7th is the current time, and it will be two hours long, but I want to make sure that everyone knows that. We may move that if needed, but we'll give you as much warning as possible. Yeah, next steps are, we have 3 or 4 months left of the Vision Zero, planning and developing this action plan, and we're excited to get it in front of the VSAC and really get into it in depth. The next step is to get it in front of everyone a little before the meeting, so that there's time for everyone to digest it, and then have a real robust conversation, because then we'll be able to refine it, and hopefully all of you will be able to implement it. So I think that's it. If any questions, happy to answer.
Nancy?
Oh yeah. So thanks, Kristen, for the update. So do you anticipate then, because our November meeting is canceled, that the committee members will receive that draft? Sounds like you just said that, but just in advance of the December meeting. So that will give us, I think, a more valuable conversation with all the members if they had a chance to review it. Okay, perfect.
Yeah, it's been, the plan is deep enough that it's impossible for us to go through the entire thing. So I know it's been a little bit hard on folks, but we have had to go through different parts of it to have real robust conversations. So that's been the last, 2 or 3 months. And so we're going to return to the plan in its entirety. And get it to you beforehand so that you can have a look.
Okay, yeah, and knowing that the Thanksgiving week is wedged in there too.
I know.
So
I know.
here you go.
We're getting into that
time.
dicey holiday time. Yeah.
Got it.
Exactly.
Okay, good. Fair enough. Thanks.
Any other questions for Kristen? Well, I know Healdsburg has been posting the survey request out there quite a bit, so hopefully you get some good results.
Super. Thanks so much, Larry. That's really helpful. It has definitely been picking up in North County, so that's great. Great to hear. Thank you.
All right. Thanks for the work, Kristen.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on, item number 6, Measure M, 6.1, invoicing obligation status. Shauna?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It looks like I can't share my screen, so hopefully you all have it in front of you. I'm sure you've all seen it before. There are some updates to be made. This happens regularly. What the agenda packet goes out, and then I get a wave of invoices. So there are some updates to be made, but this is the status of the invoicing and the appropriations that have happened so far this year. So if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. That concludes the report, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Not seeing any questions. We will move on to item 7, the regional update, starting, of course, with the inactive federal obligation status. Who's on the bad list, Shauna?
So there is a list in your agenda packet, but I am going to bring up, I'm trying to get it on the right screen first, because of course it's been updated since the agenda packet went out. So the most recent list, which hopefully you can see now, thank you for allowing me to do that, Drew, is the list for as of October 21st. I think the one before that was a couple of weeks. They get updated every couple of weeks, and generally we're about one behind, but this is the most current list. So as you can see, we have Windsor on the list, Petaluma, Sonoma County, and Cloverdale, and the city of Sonoma. So if we could go through each one of those, I know I've seen that there has been a back and forth between Windsor and Ken Wynn regarding the inactive obligation for the local partnership program project at the Windsor River Road and Windsor Road. And so I don't think I need an update there. They are going back and forth. But I do want to talk to Cloverdale. I'd like to hear an update, because I know Ken was trying to get a hold of you. And if so, Eric, if you want to give a brief update, that'd be great.
So Ken and I spoke yesterday, and he finally confirmed that what the Caltrans accountant was complaining about was that our Exhibit 3A had not been processed, which was supposed to extend the project end date. Mm-hmm. Apparently that has not been processed. I resent it to Ken. Ken said he can't process it.
Well, it is too late.
And he's now disallowing any expenditures that we had after July 24th, 2020, which includes a fair amount of the construction, though I don't know it's enough to actually deny us funding. So he's asked us to repackage our invoice again, only this time we're only going to include invoices for work up to July 24th, 2020, and see if he can put that through. But I found Ken's reasoning rather impenetrable, and near as I can tell, the only thing that went wrong is the paperwork that I filed was not processed.
So you submitted a 3A and it didn't get processed.
Correct.
You submitted a 3A in time to extend the date, not after that date.
Correct.
I see. And who did you send it to?
To Ken.
Okay.
And at his request, we had combined it with final invoice documentation. Near as I can tell, when he rejected the invoice, he rejected the 3A in the process. And each subsequent submittal, which included a copy of the 3A, just never processed.
I see.
So I wanted to talk to you too, offline, about potential strategies on how to deal with this, because I am at a loss.
Okay, let's take that offline. I appreciate it. I appreciate the update. Thank you. Nader, do you want to give an update on the Sonoma County projects that are on the list?
Sorry, I was on a phone call.
Oh.
Yeah, I have a long list. I thought I have a short list. I don't want to stay too long with you, but is it possible that I can send you a detailed response to all of them? Because some of them shouldn't be there and some, yes, I agree with it.
Okay. Yeah.
If you want to, I will send you an email over the weekend, so you receive it either by tomorrow or by Monday at the latest.
Okay.
Because it seems that we have what? Well, double digits.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I wrote them all down, if you don't mind. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure, dear.
And then Ken, do you want to talk about the Petaluma project?
Yeah, I'm just sending an email on that. Excuse me. It just, the bids are due today at 2 o'clock, and I assume this is, I've got to see what this invoice consists of, but I'm going to get more information on it, and I can report back to you on it.
So you're opening bids today, which means that you haven't actually submitted your initial invoice for processing. Is that right?
If the invoice has to consist of contractor activity, that would be correct. Yeah, I wasn't sure if we can pay for city staff with this or not.
It depends on what your finance letter says and whether or not you have construction support funding. But yeah, yes, I'm sure that you could in order to get it processed. The initial invoice and the final invoice are the toughest to get through.
Okay.
Because they do take some time to prepare and ensure that they are correct. Mm-hmm. I will say that Caltrans offers a lot of training right now. Okay. They do a training on the best methods for invoicing. They also do a training on I think it was actually the CTC that just had a training that talked about beginning dates, end dates, what they mean, when you have to comply with that requirement, and how that works in the whole process. And so I would recommend both of those things. If you cannot attend them in person, are available in the archives. There are recordings of those trainings. I would highly recommend reviewing those so that you have some reference and resource to look through.
Good.
They can be very helpful.
Okay, will do. Thank you very much.
All right, and then I didn't see Colleen. I don't know if she's here, if she joined the meeting after we started, but I don't think she's online. So we'll skip the city of Sonoma. So that would move us on to the next item, Mr. Chair. I'm going to stop sharing that.
Excellent. Are there any other regional updates? There's nothing on the agenda. I just thought I'd check.
Go ahead.
Well, I think I heard that the MTC and ABAG adopted the Plan Bay Area 2050, right, Shauna? And the environmental document? I think I heard that this week.
I honestly don't know.
All right, I don't know. So that's a big deal. Regional policies.
Indeed, it is a big deal.
I don't know. Chris Barney
should know.
Chris Barney's on the call, right? Is that true, Chris? You do all the planning stuff.
Yeah, they have.
Okay, excellent. I wasn't making that up.
Yeah,
and
tracking properly. I get so many emails about that I honestly stopped paying attention, and I should be paying attention. That's on me.
And the SMART train north of Windsor was not included, but that wasn't a surprise. And there's Joanne coming on.
There you go.
You're correct, Larry.
All right, we'll move on. Sorry for the digression. Item number 8, SCTA 2021 funding program call for projects discussion, starting with 8.1, the complete final list of projects for consideration. Some were added from the last meeting, I believe.
So I'm going to share my screen again, Mr. Chair. There we go. So since the last meeting, yes, we did some adjustments, but this is the final list of projects that we received. And there were minor adjustments allowed in that Petaluma. So anybody who submitted a incomplete application was able to submit a complete application after the deadline. And then we had after the board meeting, we did have instruction from the board to allow the city of Sonoma to submit a project or projects. They submitted a single project, so that is now included on the list as well. We have 59 total projects and over $230 million worth of ask for about $70 million of available funding. And this list shows you the 3 projects highlighted in green that were approved to be submitted for the 2022 State Transportation Improvement Program. So these projects will be funded by the STIP, and well, Southwest Boulevard will actually be funded by the CRISA funds, which is sort of supplemental funds. And then the Santa Rosa project is being funded by a portion of our share that was supposed to go to a loan repayment for a project that came in over bid or over estimate for the Marin Sonoma Narrows. So we had borrowed against our STIP share. We were supposed to pay that back to MTC this year, but because Commissioner Jacoby, or no, Commissioner, sorry, that's not the right name, Victoria, from Santa Rosa.
Fleming. Councilmember Fleming, thank you.
Councilmember Fleming, thank you. She was able to convince MTC staff to defer that loan payment for SCTA to the 2024 STIP, freeing up $3.4 million of our STIP share in order to program the funding for the overcrossing, the pedestrian overcrossing in Santa Rosa. And then there are 2 projects in West County for the West County Trail. Well, it's 1 project, 2 locations in West County at Occidental Road and Green Valley Road that will also be funded with STIP share. So this is the final list. I am now meeting with each of the jurisdictions that have submitted applications in order to discuss your projects, go over any information that I have noticed as I've done my initial review, and then allow the jurisdictions to tell us anything else that they'd like to about our projects. Each of the jurisdictions is being afforded about 2 weeks to provide any modifications to the existing applications that they have submitted. There will not be any new projects and there will not be any swapping of projects, but there will be adjustments to the existing projects as long as it doesn't change the total amount requested. And I see Nancy has her hand raised.
So Shauna, on the spreadsheet, and thanks for putting that on the screen. So the greens are the STIP programming.
Correct.
But then you did say, okay, so I got the City of Sonoma, that bike and ped. So that's a new one. What were the Petaluma Transits? Are those all new as well? I'm just trying to sort out what was
They're
added.
not new. They're not new. They're the same projects that were submitted.
Oh,
but
okay.
the applications were incomplete when they submitted them. So we allowed them to complete their applications.
Okay, I got it. So really the only new additional project is the City of Sonoma. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay, excellent. Thank you for clarification.
Go ahead, Ken.
I was just, Shauna, the Lynch Creek Trail, that was taken out then?
Lynch Creek Trail is there.
Right, but I thought it was being recommended for funding. I thought it was STIP, but it's still there, but is there any change in the status?
I believe that Lynch Creek was on the short list, but it was not selected to move forward with STIP funding.
Okay.
So it will be considered for all of the other funding sources that are available in the 2021 funding program.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Sean, a question. You had said something about 2 weeks. 2 weeks from when?
From the meeting that you have with me.
Okay.
So
perfect.
everybody will have a different due date depending on when you meet with me.
Okay, good. Otherwise, I was going to try to schedule a new meeting with you.
No, everybody gets 2 weeks.
With OBEG 3, which is the kind of the next chunk of funding coming forward, we still are going to do a full application for that. Is that correct?
Not exactly. So what I'm anticipating is that in December, MTC will approve the One Bay Area Grant Cycle 3 guidance and procedures. At that point, we will know for certain what is included in OBAG 3. And at that point, we will know if we need additional details on these existing projects. It is our expectation that we will use these applications for that evaluation purpose. But we may need to solicit additional details if there are required details that are not included in our applications that we already have.
Okay, so there may be another round similar to what you're doing with these meetings when OBEG guidelines come out.
Possibly. I would anticipate that we put together an email or a TAC item that would talk about, and I don't know yet. It depends on what that actually looks like. But I would expect that we would put out a call for additional information, required information that may or may not have been included in the original application. But I don't know. I don't know that we will have new meetings. I'm hoping that we will have these meetings, and then we will be pretty up to date on the projects that are being proposed.
No, understood. Sorry if I said that wrong. Not necessarily that there'd be other meetings, but there would be another opportunity to add information as needed. But I'm clear on that.
Yes, if there are required elements that were not part of this initial application, then we would put out a supplemental call for those materials.
Okay, sounds good.
And I expect that to happen after the first of the year.
Okay. Ken, is your hand still raised?
No, I'll put it down. It's getting tired. Thanks.
All right. Edie?
So and you know, this may not be able to be answered, and probably not. Being that Nancy mentioned Plan Bay Area 2050 having been approved, I wonder if anyone has any sense of whether there's something very significant in that might appear on requirements or emphasize requirements in OBAG 3, like has to, you know, these projects have to even more address housing crisis, that sort of thing. And that's maybe that's more of a comment or an editorial. I don't know if anyone really knows, but I'm just trying to think ahead of our projects and anything that might be in Plan Bay Area 2050. So
Yeah, we did try to anticipate and include that stuff in the CTP, which did also get approved, but slightly before PBA. So I feel like we're probably pretty up to date.
Nancy? Oh, sorry, Shauna.
No, go ahead. I'll bring it up later. Nancy?
Yeah, I do like your suggestions, Shauna, about supplementing the initial call that we submitted in September for the OBAG. I think that's, especially for the smaller cities with their staffing sizes. I mean, the simpler that we can make this call for OBAG 3 better, I think is a good thing, right? So I think supplementing the submittal that we did this fall is a good suggestion. Just a comment.
Thank you. So what I did want to say was that every indication that we are receiving from MTC, and I've mentioned this to the folks that I've met with so far, but every indication that we are receiving is that MTC will be the final decider on the OBAG 3 projects. So we are expecting that SCTA will put forward a bundle of projects that we propose for funding, and then MTC will evaluate which ones get funding. So we don't know how that's going to go exactly.
Okay, no other comments, Nancy?
That's interesting information, Shauna. That's not the way it's typically gone, but that's
No,
interesting to know.
It's not how it's gone traditionally, but
Yeah.
that's how Quick Strike went, and every indication is that's how it will go for OBAG 3.
Okay, so the process will be, you'll do the call for projects. I'm just trying to understand the process, and you'll get that. Will the SCTA board make a recommendation?
Call for projects. This is the call.
Okay, well, all right. So, but when you go the OBAG 3 call, right? There'll be, so there won't be another board action associated with the OBAG. I'm trying to understand that.
Yes. So this is the call for projects. This is our stable of projects.
Okay.
These are the priorities that the jurisdictions have given to us as their highest priorities for the next 5 years of funding. And then we will process and evaluate the projects after the OBAG 3 guidance and procedures come out. And then we will select projects for recommendation to the board. Those will come to the TAC first, and we will have a discussion. Then we will look for a recommendation to the TAC, or from the TAC to the board. And then the board will put forward a set of projects for funding for OBAG 3, and those will go to MTC. MTC will be the decider. So we anticipate that to happen by mid-year next year. And anything, keep in mind that not everybody's going to get federal money, and so we will probably be using some of those other funding sources to fill in gaps here and there for projects that may or may not be funded with federal funds. That was the idea behind the call for projects, is to sort of mix and match to make sure that everybody gets a little something, but not everybody is going to end up with the same funding source.
Okay, thanks, Shauna. I appreciate that description and clarification.
No other comments on that? We will move on. Item 8.2, updated programming obligation status to SCTA board in November.
So this is an item that, and I'm gonna start, I should have not stopped sharing. Let me grab that again. So let me go back there, share, and then scooch back up. So we did this once before, where we brought you a history of what had been programmed, and we brought it to TAC first, and then we brought it to the board. This was sort of a stepping off point, if you will, for a process that we intend to take to the board a couple of times a year that shows what has been programmed and then the progress of that programming, when you obligate, when you've had your field review, when when those things happen, so that we can keep track of obligation status. Because, and at some point we will probably add inactive obligations to this list. However, it's not on there right now. So we are updating the board based on these last couple of programming actions that we've had, including Quick Strike and STIP. So that's essentially what the staff report says. And then each one of these pages is an update to the funding status that we took to them in June. So each of you has seen this. And what we did was highlighted any changes in green so that they're easily identifiable. So Cloverdale didn't have any changes. Katati got a Quick Strike project, so that's highlighted in green. And then same for Healdsburg, they got a project. There was no change, or actually there was a change in, or there wasn't a change in Petaluma. There is a couple of programming actions in Roanoke Park, Santa Rosa, Sebastopol. Sonoma obligated a project, but they didn't get any new funding. So that's why there's only one cell instead of an entire line. So we just wanted to make sure that we brought this status update to you to make sure that you have looked it over before we take it to the board. It is on the board agenda for November. So if there are any changes or things that we need to know about or inaccuracies on this, please do let us know as soon as possible so that we can report those to the board.
Okay, not seeing any questions. Anyone have anything to add to that one? Sorry. And then we'll move on to number 9, SCTA RCPA board meeting. Is that in the packet, Shauna?
It is not. Drew is going to bring it up and share his screen with you right now.
Do you see it?
Yes.
Okay.
Can you embiggen it a little?
Here. Oh. Let me try this way. Probably not on my vertical screen. How's that, Shauna?
Much better, thank you. So consent calendar includes minutes and some action items that are pretty basic. We've got the Vision Zero action plan, the amendment to the contract of the Vision Zero action plan, and we're doing the update to the administrative code. That's essentially to cover quorums and our ability to organize meetings for the committees, particularly in regard to the Citizens Advisory Committee. Then on the regular agenda, we have the funding status that I just showed you. That's the item that we just went over. So that's going to the board. And then the rest of the items that are on this agenda, that I would offer it over to you to ask questions if you have them about this agenda. I don't know that you have questions about the RCPA, but you might. So with that, I would turn it over to the committee to ask any questions you might have. We bring this to you so that you have the ability to see it in advance and prep your directors before they have to hear the items at the board meeting.
Not seeing any questions, although I do appreciate seeing it in advance. Thank you. If there's nothing else, we'll move on to item 10. Does anyone have any other business or announcements?
I would like to mention, Mr. Chair, that just because it's unusual or not part of our regular pattern, that the next meeting is on December 2nd, because the meeting generally the fourth Thursday of the month in November typically falls on Thanksgiving. So that doesn't work for holding our meeting. So we usually shift it to that first week in December, since the following month in December usually falls very close to Christmas, if not on Christmas. Yeah, on the Christmas holiday. So we try to half the distance between those two meetings and held it in the beginning of December. And then we will hold a regularly scheduled meeting in January.
Well, I'm thinking now that we're on Zoom, we could do it on Thanksgiving Day. We'll all just do it from our
when we all
tables.
need a break from our families.
Nancy, you have a comment?
Yeah, that was exactly my comment. No, no, I just you know, I know there's a new a picture frame on our Zoom call. David, I hate to put you on the spot, but I haven't met you. I mean, I don't think anyone's met you, but it would be really nice to know a little bit about, you know, you're new to the SCTA staff, a little bit about you. I know James is on the call, but just where you come from and just really, yeah, I would love to hear that. That's it.
Sure. So previously I was manager of capital programs at the San Joaquin Regional Rail Commission, the operator of the ACE commuter train between Stockton and San Jose. Is currently managing an expansion up to Sacramento and down to Merced. Before that, I was with the San Joaquin Council of Governments in Stockton for 6.5 years, managing their sales tax program and their capital projects. So I have extensive experience both on the highway side and the transit side, and moving over to the North Bay now to be closer to family. So pleasure to be working with all of you.
All right, thanks. Welcome. Thank you.
Yeah, welcome, David. Eric, comments?
So for those who weren't here for the preview events, I have announced my resignation from City of Cloverdale. I'll be moving over to the City of St. Helena. So this will be my last SCTA TAC meeting. So it's been a pleasure working with all of you.
We will miss you, Eric, and I'm sure you and Mark will do great things over there.
I just want to know, Eric, whoever takes over your place, are they going to have your background?
Nope, I am the author of this photograph. It's all mine.
Okay, I always think that's a great one.
And not to share other people's news, but I don't know if you've heard that Colleen Ferguson is retiring as well.
Oh, Larry, I was going to say that, but I wasn't know if it was public. But I guess it is.
Well, it's public because I saw it in the paper.
Well, then there you go. It is. Yeah. I think she's at the end of the year, right?
I didn't hear a date. I did talk with her this morning briefly, but I didn't ask her that. So, with that, is there anything else? Onward to item number 11. Oh, Shauna?
I just said no, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Oh, great. Item number 11, adjournment. Thanks,
Happy
everyone.
Halloween, everybody.
Yep, have a great weekend.